Offense wins championships. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a championship defense. I hope you guys can hear me. I think my mic's a little low. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. My name is Darrin Bauming, soon to be joined by the man you affectionately know as Schnitzy, Zach Schnitzer. And I mean, Winnipeg's defense has put the league on notice. And not only have the Rough Riders and the BC Lions struggled through this middle part of the season, Winnipeg has now won 3 of their past 5 games and are just a game and a half out of first place in the West Division. Let's bring in the man you came to see, Zach Schnitzer. How you doing, Schnitzy? What's going on?
How am I doing? What kind of question is that, Bombing? How am I doing? How are you doing? Your team just basically shut out the Lions defense for 2 straight games. I'm on cloud 9, buddy. I am absolutely on cloud 9. Uh-oh. What's going on there, Darrin?
I'm hoping my mic is okay. I think it's a little bit low for some reason. We'll get it straightened out. But
we'll get it straightened out, just like the Bombers have got it straightened out.
Go ahead.
Well, the Bombers have got it straightened out, haven't they? Can we now say they've got it straightened out? Is that 0-4 record that they started with a bit of an aberration, and this is the real team? I don't know, man. Look, Rourke was rusty. It was pretty clear. Some of his receivers weren't running the most crisp routes. That Dietrich Nichols interception looked like Hollins wasn't running the best route there, but he threw it a bit late, Rourke, and yeah, he was a little rusty. But in the CFL, they allowed a garbage time touchdown, but 3 points in 2 games, basically, Darrin? That's insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Waiters.
How's my sound now? Is it a little bit better?
It's a little bit better. It's a bit wonky. What's going on, Darrin? Your sound's always 100%, buddy.
I'm still on the bye.
It's my sound. Yeah, you're still on the bye week, buddy.
I think that's what it is.
You're still on the bye week. Yeah. Hello. 3 points in 2 games? No. Are you kidding me? I'm the color guy.
You can do it.
I can't carry a show. I can barely carry my lunchbox to work, buddy. I can't carry anything.
Well, you know what we're going to get into on the show, right? We're going to get into WALBY'S Warrior, Westwood's Wide to the Right. I've already asked people in the live chat for their Bonfire burning point. And of course, we're going to get into a whole bunch of highlights from tonight's game, right?
Oh, I love the highlights.
Let's get into it.
You want to do a burning point off the hop?
Well, my mic isn't working great, so yeah, I want you to talk, baby.
Oh, that was an audible. I'm too slow for that. I didn't quite get the kick under the table there, Darrin. You want me to give you my burning point? Oh my God! Now what's going on with my notes here? Ridiculous. My burning point is after TJ Lee picks off Collaros, I think it was the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
The D causes a 2-and-out to BC, and then Brady Oliveira has a couple of huge runs. He had 4 runs, Darrin, of 10+ yards today, when they needed to gobble some clock, as you like to say, and Brady bully ball Brady Bombers do it again, and he has 2 big runs, leads to a field goal to make it 20-3 in a game that was closer than it probably should have been because of the Strevler tripping on Stanley Bryant on 3rd and 2, and because of the doink by Sergio Castillo, a 42-yard field goal that he should make in a dome, especially. No wind. I thought the game was closer than it could have been. 17-3. They were up 2 scores, but still, the Rourke can strike quickly with that offense, with McInnes and those guys, right? Hollins, Hatcher. So I thought that was a big, big turning point in the game, and I thought it was the turning point. In fact, it's the burning point. Peter D, I like it. Have you tried turning off your mic and on? Even I know that trick.
Yeah. Well, how about I turn the whole stream off, lose everything, and then we can start over again. No, not doing that.
Darrin, you have such a great radio voice that it doesn't even matter if your mic's working. You're just the dulcet tones of Darrin.
45 minutes, I'm going to pass out. And then you won't see me for another week. It'll be like another bye week. That's what I'll need to recover.
Frick, this bye week was long enough. Like, it took forever. But let me tell you something, because I think I speak for the fans sometimes, Darrin. That's why I'm on here, right? You look at this week in the West Division. If you're a Bomber fan, first of all, the Stumps lose. The Stamps, I like to call them the Stumps. They lose in a walk-off by Lewis Ward. What was that, a 52-yarder? So the Stamps lose. And then, guess what? The Riders lose in heartbreaking, controversial fashion.
Yeah.
The Davis Alexander was his foot out, so they lose. And then we beat the Lions in that fashion. Like, we dominated this game. The time of possession was like 37, 38 minutes to 27. No, it was better than that. Anyway, we'll have to look at the time of possession when we get the stats going.
Yeah.
So I just thought we dominated, and I just love it. I just love it, man. When the Riders lose, especially like that, and Calgary loses, we're right in the mix, buddy. We're third place now.
That's right.
It's a whole different kettle of fish.
Might have to call an audible. We can go this way with the mic.
There you go.
Different mic. We'll make it work. Winnipeg did win the time of possession battle. It was 32.5 to 27 for
so not
the Bombers. I'll pull up these stats right now, and just want to remind everybody, now that I got a microphone that's working, I feel like I gotta bring the volume down now through my own, as the digital is up nice and high. But Rat River Rebel, there we go. The West is wide open. Winnipeg's defense is championship caliber. The party was spoiled on Nathan Rourke's homecoming tonight. And, a couple things, Schnitzy, that you mentioned to me before we came to air that you didn't mention now, when I was dying for you to inform this rabid fan base of how big this win was. Number 100 for Mike O'Shea as head coach in the CFL, and of course with the Blue Bombers. Win number 100 with Kyle Walters as general manager, and Mike O'Shea as head coach. And it's also a big win number for the franchise, right, Schnitzy?
Yeah, buddy, I love it. I'm not
700.
Smart enough. I'm not smart enough to carry the show,
I was
kick under the table.
I was teeing you up.
You were teeing me up big time.
Yeah, big win for the franchise. Number 700.
I missed a layup there, but I'm 5'6". I miss lots of layups. They got to lower the nets, right? When I was a kid, they lowered the net. Why didn't they keep lowering the net? I mean, I would play in a basketball league, like a Jewish men's basketball league.
Look, they might have lowered the net on you
or something.
They might have lowered the net on you, but the Bombers have raised the bar on their game.
Ooh.
And they are just led by a different player on the defense seemingly every week. Celestin Haba was excellent in his re-debut after getting injured early in the season, coming off the 6-game injured list, getting to the quarterback. We'll watch a highlight of him a little bit later. Willie Jefferson getting to the quarterback, Celestin Haba getting to the quarterback, and he was the back end of the defense making a lot of big plays, Schnitzy.
Oh, that secondary, I mean, there's something else, Darrin. And there was times when Rourke had one steamboat, two steamboat, three steamboat, and there was nothing open. I mean, not to mention the 2 picks, right? But there was nothing open. I don't know what these Jordan Younger, he was a DB. Listen, he appears to be doing an incredible job this year.
Appears to be.
Yeah. I don't it is hard to play defense on a field that big, right? Even though you got 12 guys. To be able to play that efficiently on defense from that back end is just phenomenal, to cover that amount of space. But Holy Dinah. This, let me ask you this right now. 2021 was the sort of apogee of the dark side defense, right? Like they were a historically good defense. They allowed no points in fourth quarters. They were allowing like 3 and 6 and 10 points a game. And I don't know, man.
Doesn't this
Is
look
the
like
dark
bend
side
don't break?
defense back? Is the dark side defense back?
Doesn't
I
this
think
look
it
like
might
bend
be.
don't break once again, Schnitzy? Like the numbers don't tell the story. 22-11 the Bombers win. Points for the BC Lions in garbage time. 300 yards of net offense to Winnipeg, just short of 400. Average yards per game, you see there, 5.5 for the BC Lions. They had just as many offensive plays. They were very good on third down. They were pretty good on second down, the BC Lions were. And they had 20 first downs to Winnipeg's 20.
Yeah.
Right? Rushing the football, I think, was an area where BC found a lot of success. 6.2 yards per carry, putting up 131 and beating Winnipeg. Passing, not so much. 185 yards off the arm of Nathan Rourke in his re-debut. And this is the number I think really tells the story. 45% the Lions were passing the football tonight. 2 interceptions. And pulling in those interceptions, Schnitzy were 2 names that have really elevated their games.
Yeah.
Really in the kind of middle chunk of the season here for Winnipeg. Detrick Nichols and Tyrell Ford.
Tyrell Ford, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at that 45.2% completion percentage for Nathan Rourke, Darrin. I mean, my Bonfire big question for the defense was, can they get some turnovers, but can they continue this clip where they are allowing the lowest completion percentage in the league, right? But they're second last in turnover ratio. Well, they had the 2 picks today, so they made their turnovers. Arguably, they had a fumble against Stanback, but it was a immediate recovery. But this defense is playing phenomenally well, and you just can't really pass on them. You can run on them, and I'm surprised BC went away from the run like they did, because Stanback was killing us, especially in the first half. Just big chunk play after chunk play, but this is why it reminds me of that dark side defense, because you just can't throw on them. And listen, here's the psychology of a Bombers fan right now. You've had 2022 and 2023 where the Bombers were blowing the doors off teams. They were boat racing teams. They were crushing teams. 2, 3 score wins, right? Winning by 20, winning by 30, just destroying teams. And they played teams in the Grey Cup that peaked at the right time in Toronto and Montreal, respectively. We lost those games by a combined 5 points. Right? I would rather see the 2019 type Blue Bombers who struggled in the middle of the season. They found their form and they went on an epic run from third place. I think that's what you're getting now. You're getting guys back now, like Lawler is back. He had a big game. Haba is back. He had a sack, right? They're getting guys back, Darrin. And I think they might peak at exactly the right time. They have their destiny in their own hands in the West Division. They play Edmonton. They haven't played Edmonton yet. They're playing a home-and-home with Saskatchewan and Labor Day and Banjo Bowl. Saskatchewan is reeling a little bit. Like, they have the season series on BC. They have the season series on Calgary right now. They're playing Hamilton next week at home. They should crush Hamilton the way Hamilton's playing. That defense, just as an aside, buddy, that defense for Hamilton is atrocious. And word is they just fired Mark Washington and hired Chris Jones.
That is confirmed. Yeah,
that's confirmed.
That's not just
Holy.
word. That is confirmed reports out of Hamilton. They have fired Mark Washington as defensive coordinator, and they've brought in Chris Jones, fired by the Edmonton Elks as their head coach and GM. Now the new defensive coordinator in Hamilton, alongside somebody he worked with in Toronto before, when Mike O'Shea was the special teams coordinator and Scott Milanovic was the head coach of the Argos, winning that 2012 Grey Cup. Yes, Chris Jones was the defensive coordinator. So those two back together again as we Think of 2019. There's Chris Streveler punching it in, second and goal and third and goal. That second attempt for Streveler punching it in to make it 16 and eventually following the convert 17-0 Winnipeg in the third quarter. Lots of people talking about Nic Demski having himself an afternoon. He sure did. You get Kenny Lawler back. We know what Ontario Wilson has been capable of as a rookie this year. And then there's Nic Demski making big play after big play today.
Yeah, and Demski, let me see. He was 6 of 7 on 6 catches, 7 targets, 109 touchdowns. I don't know if those numbers are official yet.
109 touchdowns.
109 touchdowns. Like, I think the most Milt Stiegel ever scored was 4 touchdowns. 109 touchdowns? Come on. No, 109 yards with a couple of classic Collaros to Demski corner routes for huge chunks. One was a touchdown. And then there's this play, which was in the third quarter, which could have been a burning point as well, Darrin, because it really flipped the field. And I believe that led to the Streveler touchdown. So it's nice to see Demski, and it was nice to see him come back. By the way, shout out to Joey Slattery. He's in the chat today, our boy,
nice
friend of the show.
What's up?
I think what's really great is that Luther Hakunavanu and Taylor Powell from the Hamilton Tiger Cats are out of hospital and they're doing okay, because especially Hakunavanu, was it last night, the game? He got absolutely walloped. And I was afraid for him. Like, I'm just, you don't want to see that in football. It's a physical game. You don't want to see guys get injured. They got families. They're trying to make a living. It's great to hear that those guys are okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's Nic Demski with a catch and run down to the doorstep, and drawing attention to this because Demski was a little bit shaken up on the play, I believe. But there he is with another play. That was just a moment after the last highlight we just saw. And I don't think Demski was much worse for wear after this. He was able to stay in, but it was unfortunate to see in the second quarter, Schnitzy, Adam Bighill go down to injury. Non-contact, nothing really doing there. It was a little bit puzzling to see Bighill go down, but he did not return for the second half.
Yeah, that was looks like he re-aggravated that right hamstring that was bothering him before.
That's how it appears.
Yeah. By the way, folks in the chat, some people are saying now my mic is too low. Let me know. I raised the volume a touch. I know Darrin will kill me for doing that, but let me know, folks, if you can't hear me too well. But yeah, nice to see Demski. He did end up coming back, Darrin. So yeah, I mean, look at the receiving core now, right? Like at the beginning of the year, I was like, what is Ontario Wilson doing in the lineup? Why do they have Kevin Collaros in there? Like, who are these guys? And now they have Ontario Wilson, who they showed on TSN on the broadcast today. Over the last 4 games, he's the top receiver in the CFL. And now they have Lawler back. They have Collaros, who's seems like a nice possession receiver. They have Whitehead in, who is great on those sweeps and little pop pass plays, also doing returns. And then they have Kenny Lawler. Like, this is a good receiving core again.
It is.
And now the D line is coming on. Garbett had a sack. Haba had a, or no, not Garbett. Was it Jefferson who was credited? Oh no, it was Garbett. Garbett had a sack and Haba had a sack. So they're just peaking at the right time. I love it.
Taking a look at the Blue Bombers' offensive numbers, Zach Collaros with another win against the BC Lions had 288 yards passing. Went 74.2%, touchdown and an interception. TJ Lee with that pick. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Brady Oliveira, 10 carries for 78 yards, and most of that, I would say, was early in the game. They didn't really go to him as much as you would think they would. 31 pass attempts for Collaros and just 10 on the ground for Brady Oliveira. Chris Streveler obviously handling the short yardage, and that average number just 2.7 because of a couple, I don't know if you want to call it misplays or mishandling of those short yardage situations. Winnipeg did turn the ball over on downs once, when Streveler tripped over the feet of left tackle Stanley Bryant. Johnny Augustine came in late with 4 carries for 22 yards to keep his career yards per carry average outstanding. But as you mentioned, there's Nic Demski with 6 catches on 7 targets for 109 yards. The large of 37, as Schnitzy likes to say, and the touchdown. A couple second down conversions for Demski, as well as Kenny Lawler. Those are big, big numbers. I always draw attention to those. If you make catches on second down to convert and move the chains, you are incredibly valuable to your team. Lucky Whitehead caught all 4 passes thrown his way for 39 yards. Brady chipped in with a handful of catches as well. And Kevin Schlitzer had a big second down conversion in the third quarter, I believe it was. For a player like Kevin Schlitzer as a rookie Canadian in 2024, to have someone sure-handed like him, physical, big body, that can block well, seems to be assignment sharp. I haven't, nothing glaring. Obviously, we don't get to see every single player, every single play, but keeps himself in the lineup, keeps himself healthy, and, keeps himself assignment sharp. For an injured Drew Wolitarsky, Kevin Schlitzer, a bit of an unsung hero so far this year. Maybe hero is a little bit of a stretch, but I think you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and from my untrained eye, it looked like he was doing some good blocking. I thought the Bombers receivers were all blocking really well today. You saw them just take defenders right out of the play, and which opened up a lot of real estate for the Bombers. And it was interesting because Josh Johnson didn't look like he was in the number 1 offense today. I thought he was listed as a starter over Lucky Whitehead, but it looked like Whitehead was taking quite a few snaps with the offense, which is what I was hoping I would see, because I don't think Johnson has done a ton this year, but I don't know. I didn't see him on the stat sheet either, Josh Johnson.
No, he didn't. What's going on, Winnipeg Freedom? Good to see you. Welcome to the live chat. Welcome to Game Day After Dark. Great to see everybody in the live chat. And we have got hundreds watching live, whether it is here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. If you're watching live on YouTube, or pardon me, if you are watching live on Instagram, head over to our YouTube page. You can just search Bonfire WPG, same as our Instagram handle, same as our handle on all our social medias. YouTube.com/Bonfire Sports, or just search Bonfire WPG. You'll find us and get the full screen experience here. Nathan Rourke, in his debut, 32% passing for 126 yards, 2 picks, and did get a pretty good performance from William Stanback. I thought Rourke had enough time to operate. The battle of this game, Schnitzy, in my opinion, was that offensive line for the Lions against Winnipeg's really aggressive and effective front 6. Even after Big Hill went down to injury, Winnipeg was still able to be responsible in the middle of the field without their quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. Justin McInnes with 10 targets, but only 4 catches tonight. Unbelievable. Their leading receiver was 50 yards from Alexander Hollins, who had a large of 39. So getting most of it just on one catch tonight. But then you see it there. Just a couple second down conversions from their receiving core. And, not a lot of yak yards either when you look at it from the BC Lions. So Nathan Rourke, we'll start pulling up some highlights here of the work that Winnipeg did to kind of keep Nathan Rourke at bay.
Absolutely. Like, when you don't have any yak yards against, it means they tackled well, right? Like, the Bombers were tackling pretty well, I thought. They let Stanback slither out of there a couple times, but by the way, Pat Rathwell on the chat is asking, Schnitzy, you like coffee? I love coffee.
Yes, sir.
I want forget beer sponsor. I want a coffee sponsor. I'm an absolute coffee nut. I drink way too much of it. Does it show? Like, are there extreme bags under my eyes? I don't know. Anyway.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't show.
Digression.
A lot of people talking about Nathan Rourke in the live chat. Tico and Paulie. What's going on, Paulie? Saying Rourke.
You got to say it loud.
Rourke will be better next season. WPG Freedom says he will bounce back. Rat River Rebel, Bombers got good pressure, rushing just 4 at the quarterback. It's true. Jordan Younger, whatever he is doing, whatever he's cooking with coverage, with pressure, with different looks, as Chris Walby likes to call it, twists and stunts and different things at the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball. It's really working. Taiwan Garbett, who was the projected week 1 starter for the Blue Bombers this season, injured in the final preseason game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Well, he's back in the lineup now, and it's Jamal Woods and Haba, and there's Willie Jefferson and number 9 Taiwan Garbett getting to Nathan Rourke, as TSN did a great job showing a couple of these different looks tonight. Here's an instant replay. And just bring it, I've noticed they like bringing the weak side linebacker, Tony Jones. They like bringing the halfbacks, Evan Holm, Dietrich Nichols. They'll bring those guys off the edge. It's almost like rush 4 and then throw the wrinkle of maybe it's a linebacker, maybe it's a halfback, maybe it's another defensive lineman that you didn't even see us sub in, because they do so many different things. They change it up so often. Could be 3D line, 4D line, 5D line, and not even lining up. Say it's 5D line, only lining up 3 and dropping a couple back or to the flats. It's really creative. Mm-hmm. It's really impressive to see what Jordan Younger is doing with the front of this defense.
Yeah, that's a great point, Darren. Just the multiple looks that quarterbacks are getting, right? It's going to confuse them. And maybe that accounts for some of Rourke's rustiness in the 12-man on 12-man game up here in the CFL. I love that. I love that you're not sure who's rushing. You're not sure who's dropping back. And, just on that clip you showed, that Willie got to him on 3-man pressure. Mm-hmm. And or 3-man rush, and I thought, wow, like if the D line can round into form right now, and I know what you're saying. You're saying DBs are getting in on the mix in terms of rushing the passer, but if the D line can round into form with a secondary that's playing that well, my goodness, that must be scary. That would give offenses in the CFL nightmares.
Reg Dunlop asking, how far was that missed field goal? If you're talking about the doink by Sergio Castillo, it was a 42-yard attempt that doinked. It's a technical term. Doinked off the right upright. He has been very, very good. I understand, in the overtime loss to the Toronto Argonauts, he missed some kicks, but he has been very, very good this season. And I don't think anybody should be directing their ire at the struggles of the Bombers early in the year at the kicker. Okay. The offense seems to have taken some form. Is 20 points enough? No, but it was enough tonight for a 20-11 win. They had 25 points in their previous game. They had 14 points in that overtime loss to the Argos. They had 9 points in the loss against Saskatchewan. They had 41 points in the win over Calgary. They had 25 points in the win over Ottawa. 19 points, not enough, against Calgary. 24 points, not enough in the loss to the BC Lions. 19 points and 12 points in their first 2 losses of the season in reverse order. My point is, look at the scores across the CFL. Look at the scores, okay? I'll pull up the standings, as, hey, it's definitely something we need to talk about. But if you look at the scores across the league, okay, Winnipeg generally scores 20, 25 points in a win. Look at these winning scores, 31, 27, 47, and Winnipeg with 20 tonight. The previous week with Winnipeg on the bye, week 10. Okay, we had a 22-22 tie, but 39 points captured to win, 33 points, 33 points captured wins. Going back to week 9, of course, Winnipeg with that 25-0 win, 33 with the win, 42 with the win, 27 with the win. Teams are scoring more points on average than Winnipeg has on average this season. A 20-16 win for Montreal. That was a bit of a weird game against Saskatchewan. 33 for Ottawa. A 16-14 win. We talked about that. Both teams played pretty crummy, if you ask me. That Argos 16-14 win. 44 points for Hamilton Tiger Cats. Last time Edmonton lost a game was July 28th. They've won 3 straight, and that brings us, well, you know what? The standings page doesn't seemingly want to pop up here. But you know what I think I can do? I'll do you one better. Here is the standings as the TSN broadcast showed them on the broadcast, pardon me, as they were highlighting Mike O'Shea capturing his 100th win as head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the standings in the West Division right there, with Winnipeg's win improving to 4-6, tied with Calgary. And I think they got the points a little bit mixed up there with Calgary.
They do, yeah.
Points. But the BC Lions have lost 4 straight games. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'll bring that back. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have 1 win in their past 6 games.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, they are 1-4-1
Love it.
6 games. So if you want to count the half game, you know, it is a point in the standings with that tie a couple weeks ago. But there's Winnipeg at 4-6. Half a game back of the BC Lions. They've won the season series, so they hold a bit of an advantage there looking down the line. And a 5-win Saskatchewan Roughriders team who, in just about 14 days, Schnitzy, they'll be playing the first of a back-to-back, the Labor Day Classic and the Banjo Bowl.
Oh, baby.
This West Division is anybody's for the taking, let alone the Edmonton Elks. Oh, gosh, I'm just noticing here the logo over those stats or standings.
Who does Saskatchewan play next week? Because we play Hamilton. Who do the Riders play next week?
The Riders next week, I'll pull it up here. Oh, it went the wrong way. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are in Toronto.
Okay.
Who are 5-4.
That's a tough place to play, Toronto, as the Bombers know. Chad Kelly's coming back. I'm not going to get into a digression on Chad Kelly, but I'll just say this. No, maybe I won't. I don't think he's going to be around very long. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, you know, they could easily lose that game in Toronto to be 5-5-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to curb stomp Hamilton. And then, you know, we're going into a home with the Riders.
Aggressive.
They would be 5-5-1. We would be 5-6. If you even split those games, or heck, if you take both of them, the Bombers are in first place. And I'm still rankled by the fact that we lost to Toronto. Like that. I mean, the amount of giveaways,
an overtime loss, you know. Yeah.
Like we should be 5-5. Like that was a ridiculous loss. Like they turned it over 5-6 times. Turnover and downs with Strevler. Looked like he was over the line. Toronto should have had a pass interference on their pick 6. Toronto's head coach Ryan Dinwiddie called a timeout when he didn't have one. Should have been a 10-yard penalty, which would have won us the game, Darren. Like that's a razor thin that loss was, and they really should be 5-5.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's over now.
It's a wide open West. It's really a wide open CFL. The Montreal Alouettes are the only team who have looked strong start to finish. I mean, the Ottawa Redblacks are 6-2-1. They're still a little bit tumultuous, a little bit shaky at times. Drew Brown injured now, and it is a foot injury, missed this past week. His second injury of the season. Had a concussion a little bit earlier. But where are all Jeremiah Masoli? Love to see it. But where is everybody? Tell me, where is everybody who wanted Drew Brown and they wanted Zach Collaros to pack his bags. Where are they? Hello?
Hey, even I started to wonder, buddy. Even I started to wonder whether we should have kept Drew Brown. Zach struggled at the beginning of the year.
Wise. Not wise. Not wise. In my opinion, it takes more than a game or 2 or 3 to dethrone a veteran who has won championships and turn franchises around in the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, to dethrone a veteran, a champion, an MOP with a couple games from a young quarterback. And you know that I'm a fan of Drew Brown from when he was nearly a practice roster quarterback on the Blue Bombers.
Dude, you called it. You called it from the beginning that he was going to be a starter in this league.
I've always appreciated Drew Brown, and I still do. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. But I don't get how fans can so quickly say, "Oh, it's over. It's over with this guy." Like, you haven't had a bad day at the office? You haven't woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Like, if you're in sales, you haven't had a bad month? Goodness. I just don't know how people can so quickly move on.
Well, to be fair, I'll play devil's advocate in a sense, maybe half the devil's advocate, just one horn, not the 2 horns. I'll just the one horn of the devil, just to say that, I mean, he struggled. It was uncharacteristic. He was underthrowing guys. He was throwing bad picks, Darrin. Like, he still only has 5 touchdown passes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. He threw another pick today. It's not like he's lighting the world on fire. And, I think he did struggle quite a bit. No, now he has 6 touchdown passes, right? Like, I'm not saying I was ready to move on, but I was starting to wonder.
Hmm.
But now with hindsight, it looks like a lot of those issues were new receivers with Schoen and Lawler on the bench and sick bay, and an O-line that was trying to gel, right? And I think
O-line.
not subpar O-line play. You can't step into throws, or when you have pressure in your face, right? You're making mistakes, and I think that is more indicative of what happened to Zach Collaros versus him, getting over the hill or something. But I was wondering. I honestly was. But I think someone an ex-player for the Bombers who I work with told me it takes a long time for O-lines to gel. They have Dobson coming in, new player in place of Gray. You have Lofton coming in place of Hardrick. Kolinkowski is relatively new. Now you have Kendall Randolph coming in for Pat Neufeld. Like, it takes time for these guys to know each other's tendencies. And from what I've understood, O-line is all about meshing. It's all about gelling. And they appear to be gelling. They really do. Like, Collaros was sacked a couple times, but I thought that he had ample time.
Yeah. Steve Smith mentioning that Collaros' pick was bad tonight. Well, let's take a look.
Smitty.
Let's take a look. Here is the interception by TJ Lee on Zach Collaros early in the 4th quarter. I mean, that's a bad pick? You're saying that's a bad pick? I mean, I don't know how bad that was. It's an interception. It's maybe an ill choice. Here's another look at it. But I mean, that's TJ Lee with good coverage. And Ryan Phillips liking it there. I'm just going to clean up a couple of the windows here so we can get a full screen on this highlight. Here's a breakdown by TSN and Glenn Suter. They always do a great job on that. Showing TJ Lee on Ontario Wilson, who's working out of the slot here. And this is, like, if this was a completed pass, this is what they would say a quarterback throwing a player open. Okay? Collaros is looking at Wilson, turn the corner here on Lee, and he thinks, okay, he's going to get some separation because look at how he's gone from 2 yards behind him to 2 yards ahead of him in just a 5-yard span. okay, or a yard ahead of him there. So he's made 3 yards up on him out of 5. Okay, DB's got his hips turned. I think I'm going to be able to find him open. And Collaros is watching that safety, as they just showed on the screen. But maybe Wilson kept it a little bit more vertical than Collaros was expecting. Collaros expecting him to maybe come in a little bit. And I don't know if that's Wilson just maybe hoping, getting a little greedy. He kept it vertical, allowing Lee to jump in there. So I don't know if that is what you would call a quote-unquote bad pick. A pick, but nothing egregious. That's my take anyway.
I think that's a great take, Darrin. I really do. And I think they were saying on the broadcast that because Lee had too deep, he knew he had help over the top. So he was able to undercut the route and play aggressively, knowing that if he missed, Wilson was probably going to get tackled, right? Mm-hmm. So he was able to. It was a great play by Lee, knowing what his own guys were doing in the secondary. And I thought he also, was it the greatest throw? Maybe not, but it could be more the receiver not cutting harder to the middle and coming back to the ball. And sometimes DBs make good plays on the ball. They get paid too.
Yep. Yeah. TJ Lee is no slouch, right?
TJ Lee is a phenomenal DB. So
yeah, I would take TJ Lee on my team any day. Outstanding player.
Yeah,
outstanding
absolutely.
player. Derek McGoran, good to see you, D McG. Holy, been a long time, man. Zach's pick today was poor route run by number 80, says my old pal Derek. Great to see you. Yeah. Sometimes it's the receiver, sometimes it's the quarterback, sometimes it's the DB, sometimes it's the play call, sometimes it's the defensive play call. And sometimes it's pretty obvious who's at fault. Tico Napoli doesn't think on the QB too much there. It may have been. I'm just giving you my 2 cents on kind of how I saw it. Do want to mention, Schnitzy, our good friends at Scotswood Links. You got to go to this place. Look at this. You got a special event. Beautiful facilities. Where's the clubhouse? There it is. Want a better look? Oh my. Gorgeous. Restaurant up top there on the left. You got beautiful patio space up top there if you want it sunny. Lots of room down here outside the pro shop. And another restaurant space in the shade. On the right side here is their beautiful banquet facilities, weddings, receptions, fundraisers, whatever your main event or big event might be. Beautiful facilities. I mean, from top to bottom, outstanding. And just an absolutely gorgeous golf course at Scotswood Links. You can find a link in the description of the video below. And you can visit them online, scotswoodlinks.com. That's Scotswood with 1 T, as you see on your screen there. scotswoodlinks.com/bonfire. You get yourself a nice discount on a foursome with power cards. Big thanks to them. They are absolute ballers at Scotswood Links. And like John Elliott said, Tyrell Ford is a baller. He really, really is. I've got some choppy video of Tyrell Ford and his interception today, if we want to take a look at that. But what have you seen from the young cornerback so far this year, as I get my screen?
Oh, man, he almost had a pick six. Oh, that was frustrating. But, I mean, Tony Jones had the hold on the pick six, which was a clear hold. It was a good call by the officials. But I think Ford has been a revelation. He struggled that first game, Darrin, against Montreal. I think a lot of people noticed that. But since then, he's been really good and playing that field side corner position, and just jumps that beautifully and takes it to the house. I think in that play, I think if Tony Jones doesn't hold, I think Tyrell Ford gets knocked out of bounds. So
Hmm,
it's an understandable penalty. But
sure.
yeah, I think Tyrell Ford, young guy, right? Canadian. Like, since when do you see a Canadian playing cornerback in the CFL? Like,
Well, and since when do you see a Canadian playing quarterback in the CFL? Because
right?
doing it for Edmonton, you got that guy right there, Nathan
Yeah,
Rourke, doing it for the BC Lions. Um,
yeah.
here's another look at the Tyrell Ford pick six, which was negated, the score anyway, but the interception did stand. Just before that, a nice pass breakup from the corner on the other side of the Bombers defense in Tyrell Tyrell Ford. I have made sure to get those straightened out. It's not just Tyrell. It's Tyrell and Tyrell. I think I've
Well,
lost
you
it.
got to know those things when you interview those guys, right?
Well, I mean, I feel that attention to detail is important. I do.
Absolutely.
Um,
Except for your mic. Like, come on, Darren. Where was your attention to detail there? Come
yeah,
on.
get it together, Bombing.
Get it together, Bomber.
Still on the bye week. Who was not still on the bye week is the man I affectionately refer to as the human tarpaulin. This was a pass breakup by Tyrell Ford in the second quarter, and on the next play, Winnipeg's stud defensive back Dietrich Nichols with a big interception of Nathan Rourke. Here's Ford on a pass breakup, and apologies for the choppy footage, as the internet was not cooperating too well today. But here it is on 2nd and 10, and Rourke dropping back, and there's Dietrich Nichols jumping the route to Alexander Hollins, and oh gosh, this video is a lot choppier than I thought it was. So maybe we'll get a look here on the replay. Well, not so much. Hopefully, we'll get that straightened out for week 12 in the CFL.
Yeah, sometimes that
short,
video is hard to. It's hard to get good video sometimes.
Yeah, pardon me. Stepping over your toes there a little bit, Schnitzy. My bad. Short week for the Bombers. They've got a game Friday, August 23rd, at home, the Madhouse on Matheson. 7:30 p.m. kickoff, which means
Yeah,
Chris
baby.
Walby will join me for Game Day Winnipeg and our pregame show on Thursday, live at 3 o'clock. And then you and I will get the postgame going as we always do, Schnitzy, after the Bombers Ticats game with a new defensive coordinator in Chris Jones manning the sidelines for the Tabbies.
So someone who knows football, just on Jones, I really don't like Chris Jones. I'm really not sure why. I just think he seems like an a-hole, but maybe he's a nice guy in person. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Do you even know? I've never had an issue with Chris Jones.
I've never
Don't
met
like
him.
Chris Jones. Cool, but
Who doesn't like Chris Jones?
some fans.
Yeah.
But
Well, he just seems like the Darth Vader of the CFL. He just seems like a
Seems.
villain.
seems.
But you know what? Someone who knows football very well and used to play told me that Chris Jones' defense is now getting exposed. What he likes to do is blitz on first down
Yeah.
and then drop 9 guys into coverage on second down, and he does a lot of that. And I never noticed that myself because I'm not that smart, but I trust this guy, and
It's true.
I think if that's the way he's going to continue to play, offenses can game plan against that, and you saw that in the ugly start Edmonton had. So anyway,
Yeah. Don Cruikshank asking what do teams see in Chris Jones as a coach? Well, until this most recent stop in Edmonton, they've seen a successful coach, very successful coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Waiters with a good point here. Willie Jefferson loves Chris Jones. It's true. Yeah, but I'll just say this: there's a lot of presumption stated about Chris Jones. Maybe we'll leave it at that. Schnitzy, do you have a bonfire burning point tonight? I would love everybody in the live chat to give me your bonfire burning point tonight, the moment that this game was locked down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, I'm kind of, the jury's out on, because I've got 2 of them. The one I talked about was after the TJ Lee pick by the BC Lions, The defense caused a 2-and-out. They got the ball back, and Brady Oliveira had 2 big first down runs. One looked like it was over 20 yards. One was about 10 yards. And they got in field goal range and made it 20-3. And I thought that's when maybe the game was out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Hatcher almost TD catch with home and playing great coverage right there. If that's ruled a catch, it's 20-10 with lots of time left in the fourth quarter. So I thought that would be my, one B burning point where the TD catch was overturned and the Bombers survived that one.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. I think I'm going to go with your first here as we take a look at it. Brady Oliveira with a nice chunk run in the fourth
look
quarter.
At the balance. Look at the balance of Oliveira.
Yeah.
Like he's got incredible balance.
Yeah. Well said by you, Schnitzy. The ability for him to take contact head on the side, down low, up high. So impressive for Brady Oliveira. Happy belated birthday to number 20. I think it was his 27th birthday. He also had a puppy party. Did you know that, Schnitzy?
I did not know he had a puppy party.
He had a puppy party, not for his birthday, but he celebrated his birthday at a puppy party in conjunction with the Dream Factory. It's a local charity that grants dreams to children that are struggling with different health issues, whether it be terminal or life-lasting or whatever it may be. The Dream Factory, similar to kind of like, the Make-A-Wish. The Dream Factory and Brady Oliveira and Oliveira's family puppy party. They had some kittens there too. The kids loved it. Brady and his fiance or his girlfriend, they all really enjoyed themselves. Saw some pictures online of it. A pretty cool thing for Brady to do to bring some joy into those kids' lives. But that bully ball where he starts smacking his head, that's, that run we just saw led to a 43-yard Sergio Castillo field goal to put the Bombers up 20-3. I think you could maybe call this your bonfire burning point tonight. You know what? I am going to go with this one. This is with less than 5 minutes remaining. Schnitzy's texting me. I'm nervous. And then this happens. Keon Hatcher climbing the ladder, coming down with the catch, and does not survive contact with the ground. So it was ruled no touchdown. Here's a good look at it. Evan Holm in coverage. And I like how Holm swats at the ball there. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at him swat at the ball. Great hands. Misses, but that's just great awareness and great hands to even get a chance at it. But Hatcher did not survive the ground. And as we continue to watch this highlight, Schnitzy, what we saw was every scoring play under review. There's Vernon Adams Jr. talking to Keon Hatcher, Nathan Rourke there as well. Great throw, great attempt to catch the ball, but video review got it right after a tough week for command center in the CFL.
Yeah. I actually thought this week, Darrin, the command center did a superlative job. I thought they cleaned up what they said they were going to clean up. They were only going to overrule calls that were just egregious, and I thought they let things stand that they should, and they didn't take over the game. And I think that's their job. They did their job to overturn calls that really should be overturned. And yes, I wear blue and gold glasses, Darrin, and fire starters, but I mean, he has to survive contact, and he clearly didn't. I mean, that's not a TD catch.
Yeah. If you missed this, right before Ben Major makes the call, here's Willie Jefferson having some words with Manny Rugamba. There's Patrice Rene, who is a teammate of Willie Jefferson's in Winnipeg. But this is Willie J saying what's up to Gary Peters. And then Manny Rugamba, Patrice Rene, I don't know, maybe Patrice kind of looks like a bystander here. But Willie's like, young man, get out of my face. Get out of my face. I see you. I see you. Uh, Willie just trying to, say hello to his old friend Gary Peters. Those guys have been in the league a long time and been CFL All-Stars for a long time. Manny Ragumba didn't like him coming to the Lions bench. Maybe that's my happy honker for tonight.
Oh, I got a good happy honker today. And I
Let's
see
hear it.
some people talking about it in the live chat as the burning point. I don't think it's a burning point, but the happy honker. Joey, that's a good comment. Joey Slattery saying this game is the season burning point. Love it.
Yep.
Listen, Darrin, the happy honker, which is of course in homage to the late great Cactus Jack Wells, is a lighthearted moment in the game, or an unsung hero. This was more lighthearted. Stephen Flintoff, huge monster meteoric punt, hits the Lions scoreboard. I have never seen that. I've never seen that in my entire life, and I've watched football for 41. Well, I'm 41. I probably didn't watch when I was in diapers, but
you've been watching it for the better part of 4 decades.
There you go. Ooh, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
That's crisp. Anyway, it wasn't the fact that he hit the scoreboard. It was the call Ben Major made on TV, which was freaking hilarious. He says, and I quote, "The kick hits the scoreboard, which is pretty odd. We're going to redo the kick." Pauses, just a redo. Like he literally said on camera,
on the mic to everybody in the stadium.
Yeah. The kick hit the scoreboard, which is pretty odd. We're gonna redo it. I howled at that. It was Collaros was on the sideline laughing. The Nielsen and Suter were laughing. That was just gold.
Jeff Cabillas, Bonfire Burning Point, Matt Hyman convincing me to be here on Bonfire. Cabillas, what happened to you, man? Like last time you were here, I called you out because he hadn't seen you in a while. You said, okay, that's it. I'll be back all the time now. And now you're telling me that someone had to convince you to be on Game Day After Dark. What are you talking about? For everybody out there, we're just about at 100 likes, so hit the thumbs up. Do you like the video highlights delivered right to you, free of charge here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram Live? If you do, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe, consider, if you will. Be sure to leave a comment, whether it's in the live chat or maybe you're watching afterwards, maybe you're listening on podcast. Leave a comment in your podcast app or head over to youtube.com/bonfiresports. You can find us on all the social media channels. YouTube is a social media channel too. All of our socials at Bonfire WPG. Leave a comment, give a thumbs up, do all of those things. Phyllis pointing out nearly 500 people watching on Twitter. Love it. Had to get that straightened out, but good to have everybody joining us there as well. And hit that thumbs up. Look at that. We blasted past 100 thumbs up. I want to see 150 before we wrap up here. With still lots to get to. So Bonfire Burning Point, happy honker, love it. Let's get into WALBY'S Warrior, who put on the war paint and made it happen tonight.
I've never done this before, Darrin, but I got to give it to the entire Bombers 12-man defense. I think, hot take, the Bombers' dark side defense is back, baby.
Okay.
At one point, they had shut out the best offense in the league for 7 quarters in a row. They had not allowed a touchdown in 12 quarters. Because remember, even though they lost to Toronto, that defense did not allow a touchdown. And they didn't allow a touchdown in the last quarter against Saskatchewan when they lost 19-9. This defense is heating up. What was Rourke's completion percent? His line was it 8 of 25, 32% for 126 yards and 2 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not good. And now I get Rourke was rusty, but that is not good. 8 completions in an entire game, that's bad. That's bad.
32%.
So I would give my WALBY'S Warrior to that entire defense. I thought they are playing phenomenal football, and if they can really clamp down on the Ticats, and Bo Levi Mitchell, he throws for a lot of yards, but a lot of time it's garbage time, just like Chase Bryce tonight, who was 6 for 6 for 59 yards. I just think the sky's the limit for this defense.
Yeah, well put. Or you're getting cocky now.
Of course it's well put. I'm Schnitzy, the voice of the fans in Winnipeg.
And what's your Twitter handle so everybody knows? It's in the video description below, by the way.
The video description, which Darrin crafts very carefully, that no one apparently reads. It didn't have my Twitter handle. I almost have
one guy reads it, and it's you, and you don't like it.
I want my Twitter handle. Follow me on. If you're listening to this show or you're watching the show, follow me on Twitter at Zach Schnitzer 48. ZACHSCHNITZER 48. That's the year my dad was born, 1948. It's the number on my jersey, 48.
Yes. Let's see it.
Very important number for me, right? Well, there we go.
There you
Finally,
go.
It took a while there. I had to. It's hard to lift up my jersey these days because it's a little tighter than it used to be. But you get into the 40s, right? You're not as slim and trim as you used to be.
Well,
anyway, that's Zach Schnitzer 48
takes a little more work.
On Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. I'm almost at 1,400 followers, Darrin. I want to get to that 1,400. I'm like 7 away.
Yeah.
But heck, I want to get to 2,000. I'm greedy for Twitter follower. I don't know what it is, but I just want a lot of Twitter followers. I just like having Twitter followers.
There's better things to be greedy about in the world.
I suppose.
Yeah. Greedy for love and affection from your family.
Oh, and from my dog. Does everyone know I'm a dog dad now?
Yeah, you are a dog.
Daphne the dog. A lot of people on Twitter were asking, can you please show Daphne on Daphne? My studio here is in the basement.
I bet you Daphne is passed right out right now.
She is in her crate, sleeping in my wife's room who also, bless her heart, sleeps with my 3-year-old and my 9-year-old. They all sleep in the same room. It's wacky here. The kids and dogs change rooms, but suffice to say, Daphne has not been down to the basement yet, and it's where one of my cats has been hiding for a week and a half since we got Daphne because he's terrified of her. Anyway, yeah, waiters, you're right. I will never call Twitter X. It is Twitter, for God's sakes. It is Twitter. Elon Musk can go jump in the lake for all I care.
Into the lake. A lot of people calling for the Bombers' defensive line to be WALBY'S Warrior. Go Long, watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Go Long? Good to see you in the live chat. Not sure we've seen you before. Welcome. Blue secondary is lights out, says Go Long. WALBY'S Warrior tonight. I don't know if I gave it to him last week, but I'll give WALBY'S Warrior to an individual this week. I'll give it to Jordan Younger.
Good.
Because even when Winnipeg, this is something I noticed, and again, it's just eyes on a screen. Who knows if there's something there or not? Could be nothing. But when Winnipeg has a great stop, they force a 2-and-out, and they've gone 7 quarters without allowing a touchdown or any points, like they did tonight in their bye-week split home and home series with the BC Lions. There's Jordan Younger right back into the iPad, studying, watching. Because Mike O'Shea has said, I've heard him say this, both on the record and off, or on microphone and off. You got to keep working, because as soon as you stop working, the opponent is going to catch you. So when things are going well, keep working. When things aren't going well, keep working. The process is the work. And Jordan Younger, whether it's some natural ability that he brings to it, he obviously has some of that because he's finding success in his first year as a defensive coordinator in professional football, or if it's the work that he does, surely a combination of both. But he is having an outstanding season. Winnipeg's defense is off the charts. So good right now. That's my WALBY Warrior tonight. You got a Westwood wide to the right, Schnitzy?
Well, I do. I just want to say, like, and just I think it highlights how good Jordan Younger is that he kind of replaced. He kind of replaced what's his name? What? Jesus, Richie Hall. Oh my God. Like Richie Hall was a defensive coordinator, had like all-star defenses for the past few years. They kept him on as a consultant, but it's because they didn't want to lose Jordan Younger. They saw the writing on the wall there. They knew that if they didn't give him a promotion, they might lose him, and I think that's how highly regarded he is in this franchise and probably around the league at this point. I mean, name me another team that has stymied Nathan Rourke like the Bombers have.
Yeah, and it's not just a rusty Nathan Rourke either. Like they've done a great job against him at his best.
Yeah, and he's eviscerating other teams. But someone on the chat, I think it was Bomber fans, saying that Rourke doesn't do so well against zone defenses, and maybe that's what JY is cooking up, some different zone defense looks against Rourke. That's an interesting point. But anyway, my Westwood
I like this.
What?
I like this. Before you have your Chris Joyle, as I asked the Westwood wide to the right, everybody in the live chat, hit up the chat and let me know your Westwood wide to the right tonight, and hit that thumbs up as well. We're just about a dozen short of 150. Chris Joyle, the hype, not Rourke, is his Westwood wide to the right tonight.
That's good. What was I going to say? Oh, you're asking me Westwood's wide to the right. Well, I hate to. Castillo has been phenomenal this year, but I get if you're missing high 50s, high 40s, 50 yards, 60 yarders. He seems to have missed like a few in the 40s, low 40s, and those should be automatic. So I'd like to see a little bit more consistency from Mr. Castillo. By the way, condolences to him and his family. He lost his grandmother last week. Very sad. And, I thought good for him to play. I know he was very close to her, I think I've read. Anyway, I just like a little bit more consistency from Sergio Castillo. That's it. Okay. That's all. I don't have... It's hard to have a wide to the right on a team that is allowed 3 points in basically 2 games against the best offense in the CFL.
Interesting take from Bomber Fan, watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Bomber Fan? One of many. Yes, you are.
Bomber Fan, you are awesome, Bomber Fan. Castillo, I love your takes.
Castillo is here because he's inconsistent, really. Has an NFL leg, says Bomber Fan. Phyllis chimes in. What's going on, Phyllis? Westwood wide to the right was the overhype of Rourke's return and the assumption that it would ensure a win for BC. I don't know if anybody ensured it was going to be a win for BC, but definitely a lot of hype. I'm guilty of that, but I'm also not regretful of it. Nathan Rourke deserves the hype. He is that good. Okay? He is good for the league. He is good for the Lions. He is good for everything. If you're a fan of the Blue Bombers or the CFL or anything in between, if you're a fan of football, period, if you're a fan of Canada and Canadians, born and bred, playing elite level of athleticism, you should be pumped for Nathan Rourke. And the fact that he's back and we're actually going to see him play games, like, look, if he signed a 3-year contract as the number 2 quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, we weren't going to see him. I'm glad we get to see him. So that's part of the hype, I get that. But I don't know if I have a Westwood wide to the right tonight. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I got one.
That's okay. You don't have to have one. You don't have to have. Mine was so good that you don't even. It covers both, right? Like,
I disagree with yours, but
fair enough. Well, you can't disagree with it and not have one of your own. Come on, you gotta listen. Castillo literally was wide to the right. He hit the right upright. So,
yeah,
I mean that's good.
David Lupkiski, the odds makers sure thought he was good for the win, says David Lupkiski. True, and I talked about this on the pregame show with WALBY. Okay, the odds makers are not making the odds in a vacuum. Okay, they adjust those numbers based on where the money is going. Okay, so Winnipeg opened as 3.5-point favorites in BC after stomping them 25-0 the week earlier. Okay, and we knew Vernon Adams wasn't going to be the starting quarterback. It was probably going to be Jake 𝘎𝙧𝙧, and now 𝘎𝙧𝙧 cut and enter Nathan Rourke. And what happened? Everybody out there, so many people poured money on the BC Lions, and that moved the line from Winnipeg favored by 3.5 to being 2.5-point underdogs. Well, I know people who smartly said, okay, I'll take those points. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Oddsmaker. And they won a bunch of money tonight. So say what you want about the odds makers were wrong. No, they do their job. The house always wins. The house always wins. And all of those people that poured their money into the BC Lions when Nathan Rourke signed and it was stated that he was going to be the starter tonight, well, that money is now in the hands of the big corporations, of course, that own those casinos. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the wide to the right is the people who bought into the hype. Hype is one thing, but I didn't hear a single person say this is going to, greatly increase, or make it a surefire win for the BC Lions. I picked Winnipeg to win tonight. I thought they were going to handle it quite well because they were rested. They play well against BC. They play well in Vancouver. They play well against Nathan Rourke. The defense is clicking. And BC's defense has not been very good this year. They've lost 4 straight games now. 4 straight. You're going to put money on a team that's lost 4 straight games, who's got a new guy at quarterback? I don't know. Seems pretty foolhardy to me. There's my Westwood wide to the right.
I like how it's coming to you as you wax poetic on betting.
Yeah, sure. Love everybody commenting in the live chat tonight. It's fired up. Love it. You guys have stoked the bonfire. You are what make Bonfire sports. Appreciate all of you, your support, subscribing, hitting the thumbs up. Just a few more to get to 150 likes tonight. But one of the most important things you can do is share this with your friends, your neighbors, your buddies at work, your boss, whoever. Share Bonfire Sports with them. Get them to watch and listen. Get them to hit subscribe on their podcast app or on YouTube or to follow on Instagram or X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Then you can follow Schnitzy as well.
Yeah, buddy.
And link in the description below, of course. And support our sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring Bonfire, let me know. We got some hockey content coming. Going to try to do things a little bit differently than all of the great hockey coverage that this city has. Kenny and Rennie, Winnipeg Sports Talk, Illegal Curve. A lot of the fan-driven podcasts that are out there as well. Level Flight and, of course, the Nolan Hockey Podcast guys, the Nolan brothers, Zeno. The man I affectionately call Zeno because he's like the 3rd or 4th Zach in my life. Zachary Nolan, who's entering high school but has been doing great work building the chapters and video editing and that sort of stuff as an intern for Bonfire this summer. We're going to miss you, buddy, but wishing you all the best in creative communications at Red River. Just a couple weeks. Oh, gosh, very like cool. A week. He's starting school in like a week. Crazy. But, we're going to do hockey a little bit differently and get creative with it and try to add to the great hockey content that's already here in the city on the digital media channels, right? And, of course, CJOB, the great work that they do alongside the other big networks, Sportsnet, TSN, and the rest. But we're here for you, the fans, right? And we do this for you. We don't do this for a big paycheck. We do this for you. So help support us by supporting our sponsors. Scotswood Links, check them out online, scotswoodlinks.com in beautiful Elm Creek, Manitoba. And then, of course, our good friends at Pure Lifestyle in Winnipeg. It doesn't matter what you might be going through, Pure is Winnipeg's proactive healthcare facility. They have a brand new walk-in clinic, including minor injury clinic. So no more waiting in line at the emergency room or urgent care or waiting hours and hours at Pan Am. You can go in, they'll get you in and out, stitches, sprains, strains, whatever it may be. They'll take care of you in and out in no time. Maybe you're looking for a GP, a new doctor, new general practitioner. They got you covered. Occupational therapy, kinesiology, physical therapy, all of it. And also just great people, great personal trainers. They have an outstanding executive health program. And strength and conditioning, wellness, so many great things, and just a beautiful gym facility, as you see right there. So you can find more information, purewinnipeg.com, and you can give them a call, 338-PURE. That's 204-338-7873, as you see on your screen there. They will take care of you. They're at 1129 Empress Street, just north of Polo Park, and they've also got a new a physiotherapy clinic at 2265 Pembina Highway. So check them out, purewinnipeg.com. They've been an outstanding sponsor of ours here, supporting Bonfire Sports and helping us bring this Bombers coverage to you. So have we covered all of our bases with WALBY'S Warrior, Westwood, Happy Honker?
Well, we got to give away our game balls, buddy.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, hey, you're Mr. Game Ball, so you go for it.
Well, I'm Mr. Game Balls. Oh, I got a few of them. Zach Collaros, 288 yards, 74% completion. Again, almost has a 300-yard game against that BC Lions defense. And, Nic Demski, 6 catches on 7 targets, 109 touchdowns. I mean, yards.
You did it again. I love it.
The defense was my WALBY'S Warrior, but, they could also get out 12 game balls. That's how good they've been, Darrin. I thought the pass rush was good with Jefferson and Garbett and Haba. I thought the DBs, of course, were good. You had 2 picks by Tyrell Ford and then Dietrich Nichols of Tarpaulin. I just thought, the D was phenomenal. And I will also give a game ball to Mike O'Shea. 100 wins as the Bombers coach. That is absolutely awesome. Like 100 wins, that's a lot of wins in football. That is a lot. It is hard to win games in football, particularly in the CFL with the amount of parity that they have. It's a far cry from where we started when we were the laughing stock of the CFL, Darrin, when O'Shea inherited the garbage heap of players and no Canadians because of the Joe Mack era. And he turned it around with the help of Kyle Walters and Ted Gavaya and Danny McManus. They have turned this ship around. And even at 4-6, they are peaking. They're heading in the right direction. And he does the little things right, O'Shea. And he picks. By the way, he had a new hat tonight. I like that green hat. It's sharp.
Military appreciation. Yep.
Oh, was it military appreciation?
Well, I hope he's not wearing a green hat for green hat's sake.
I don't know.
They got to take on the Riders in a couple weeks. You know what? Mike O'Shea often makes fun of lighthearted comments about like, oh, you're wearing green. Does that mean you're cheering for these guys or whatever? So kind of funny that you point out the green hat on O'Shea, but yeah, that's a military appreciation hat.
But he's just built an incredible culture here, right, Darrin, where he gets guys that love football, that love the process, they love the grind, they love studying football, and they're guys that come in at 7 a.m., right? They're not guys that come in when they have to. They come in early, they leave late. They're lunch pail hard hat guys, which is very, very in line with sort of the way Winnipeg is, blue collar, lunch pail sort of town, right? And he's just fit in beautifully. You'd almost think he came here. I just love O'Shea. maybe you could knock him for sometimes maybe he has a little bit too much loyalty to certain guys, but especially veterans, you could argue, but you can't argue with the results. 100 wins is phenomenal, and
Yeah.
he's going to have probably 100 more.
Yeah, I mean, you could knock him for a whole bunch of things, but you cannot argue with the success that Mike O'Shea has brought, and just the, he refuses to talk about, legend or impact or the company that he is in the big picture of, all of the greats in the Canadian Football League as players, as coaches, but he is in that conversation. He is in that realm, and big congratulations to Mike O'Shea and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They are never going to rest on their laurels or on some arbitrary number, 100. But no doubt they deserve recognition for it and congratulations for it. And it goes beyond Mike O'Shea. It's Richie Hall. It's Matt Nichols. It's Buck Pierce and Paul Appolise. It is so many of the other coaches and support staff. It is Ted Gavaya, Assistant General Manager and Director of Player Personnel. It is Danny McManus, Assistant General Manager and Director of U.S. Scouting. It is General Manager Kyle Walters, who also earned win number 100 as the General Manager of the Blue Bombers tonight. And it is President and CEO Wade Miller, Darren Cameron, so many other individuals that have helped this team. Ryan Rigmaiden, an assistant general manager and director of U.S. Scouting of years gone by, now back with the BC Lions once again. I'm missing many, but there are so many that have contributed to that culture change that we've witnessed here in Winnipeg over the past 10 seasons, 11 years. Back in 2013, it was a 3-win season.
Yeah.
In the first year of IG Field and the new Winnipeg Stadium. And then when Mike O'Shea took over in 2014, and Kyle Walters took over and Wade Miller took over. I was looking at that picture the other day. Those 3 fresh-faced individuals who looked, they look like teenage versions of themselves from today. And that's not a knock on their age or anything. I got gray in the beard too. But that day inside the Blue Bombers locker room where they had Miller and Walters and O'Shea, and they started from scratch, and they did it their way to the point where 3-4 years had gone by and the team just couldn't find a way to win in the playoffs. And people were calling for a change again, like Winnipeg had done over and over and over again, going back to the 2010s and the 90s. And it just wasn't working. They stuck with it. And they cut all-stars in 2014. They cut all-star caliber players because they wanted to reestablish the culture and reestablish the attitude inside that locker room, inside that building, the facilities, both locker room and meeting rooms and offices and everything. They really did, similar to the stadium being built from the ground up, and they had their construction issues and delays and snags along the way. But you look at Princess Auto Stadium now, you look at this Winnipeg Blue Bombers franchise now, gems of Canadian football. And the envy, a lot of that envy goes to you out there, the fans. You, Schnitzy, being one of thousands and thousands that are a reason why the Blue Bombers franchise is the envy of the league as they are today.
Absolutely. You thought maybe their time in the sun was over, but they're back, baby. The Bombers are back. And yes, as Scott Rogers saying here on the chat, FIFO culture is everything, building things the right way. They do things the right way. And listen, as long as O'Shea and company have an average to above average quarterback, they're going to be in the mix. Like, Collaros isn't going to be here forever. They're going to have to find another quarterback, but they are always going to be in the mix with the right way that they do things. They never rest on their laurels, as they say. That's a really good point, Darren. They're always pushing the envelope and learning and growing and working and grinding.
Yeah, Granny Bomber fan mentioning Wade Miller, no doubt, turned things around by hiring Kyle Walters or, removing the interim tag from him. when he was the assistant general manager to Joe Mack in 2012 and 2013. Mentioned Wade Miller. This is interesting. I don't know if you guys out there have seen my sit-down interview at the Silver Heights restaurant. Great spot, by the way, in central St. James, right by Assiniboine Park on Portage Avenue. But if you've seen my interview with Andrew Harris from about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, mentioned FIFO, FIFO. That's fit in or flip off, being the four-letter word that is not flip. Fit in or figure it out is sometimes what they'll say. Or forfeit opportunity is another PG version of the fit in or F off culture. Do you know what Andrew Harris told me about FIFO? Andrew Harris told me that it was not something he brought in there or that the players established. He said that that's something Mike O'Shea established with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And it was fascinating to hear that from Andrew Harris, who I'd have to believe. But if you ask Mike O'Shea, as we have in months past even, but years past, what the FIFO is all about, and Mike O'Shea says, it's not me, it's the players. There's Andrew Harris, who a lot of people, myself included, had attributed the FIFO to. I attributed it to Andrew Harris. He's like, no, that was a Mike O'Shea thing. Mike O'Shea brought that in. But then you ask O'Shea, just to reiterate here, and he says, no, that's all the players. Well, yeah, it's the players. Fit in or get lost. But it was Mike O'Shea. It was very
cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. I watched that interview, but I missed that part, or I forgot about that. That's super cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a game ball specifically to give tonight. There was, I'm gonna forfeit my opportunity with the game balls tonight.
Okay, forfeit it, buddy.
Yeah, fit in or forfeit opportunity. So that's that. I'll leave it at that.
Well, that probably works because people got to go to bed. It's a Sunday night. It's a work day tomorrow. Well, not for me because I'm on holiday next week.
Yeah, buddy.
Although it's not really a holiday, I'll be with my 3-year-old all week. But we're gonna get around town, hit up the Aviation Museum, hit up the Children's Museum, go to Pan Am Pool. We're gonna have a great time, him and I. But hang out with Daphne. And listen, Darrin, the Bombers are 4-6, and they are right in the mix, my friend.
Oh, another rhyme to wrap up the show. Schnitzy.
Rhyme to wrap it up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Do you want to sign off? I was just kind of playing the highlights here that TSN put together on SportsCenter, just to get a final look at this game. Final thoughts, I guess, as we wrap it up. There is the great pass knockdown by Tyrell Ford out of the University of Waterloo, Blue Bombers draft pick in 2022. There's the Dietrich Nichols pick, the human tarpaulin. Nice. Taking that back a few yards off the arm of Rourke. But Rourke just harassed all night long by the Blue Bombers front four, front six. They did a great job. Here is the Tyrell Ford interception to the house that was negated by a holding penalty. And you'll see it here. And really sharp analysis by you. There's Tony Jones, 33, getting the blessing from Andrew Harris, I learned this week, to wear 33. But Jones with the holding penalty to negate that. But it did lead to a Blue Bombers score a little bit later. Here's Zach Collaros. Looks like vintage Zach Collaros once again. Because early in the year, as we talked about here on Game Day After Dark, Schnitzy, wasn't the case. There's Chris Streveler punching in another touchdown. He has got 7 on the season. Him and Calgary backup Tommy Stevens amongst the league leaders there. Even in pursuit of Nathan Rourke, Winnipeg able to put the smack on the young BC Lions quarterback. There's the hatch or catch we took a look at, or no catch we took a look at a little bit earlier. That was my bonfire burning point tonight. And everybody who was in the live chat, thank you for your Bonfire burning points, your Walby wide to the right, or pardon me, your Westwood wide to the right, your Walby Warrior, and all those. Would love if you guys chimed in with your game balls tonight and your final score. The Bombers improved to 4-6 with a 2011 win against the BC Lions, who were once 5-1, now 5-5, and the CFL West from last to first is like 2.5 games. From Winnipeg, tied with Calgary in points, a game and a half out of first place. The Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders in second and first place, respectively. Unbelievable to think of where we were a month and a half ago, Schnitzy, to where we are now. And Winnipeg hosting the Ticats on Friday night before the home Labor Day Classic Banjo Bowl against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. This is a brand new ball game, and that ball game just starting the third quarter here in the 2024 CFL season.
Absolutely, and you're going to have to send me more of that super chat money because I'm bringing my daughter and her friend, and I'm going to be spending most of the time in the concessions buying them stuff just to keep them there. But continuing the Schnitzer tradition, bringing the kid, it's going to be great. And like I always say, buddy, I got to have a rhyme. 4-6, and we're in the mix. And sayonara, everybody.
See you next time.